Alright, here's what we got going on today. We got a John Deere lawn tractor. It's got a 13 horse Kohler command. Got it running good, and one of the last things I got to do is replace this bracket, which is missing, which is supposed to have a gauge wheel mounted on it. What happened was, well, it looks like they've welded this a few times. Whatever. Why that won't hold up for them, I don't know, but I'm going to probably end up grinding all their welds off and starting new. But that one's completely missing, and I don't have the piece for it that broke off with the wheel and everything else. And this one, when the other one went bad, this one, you can see it's got a good curve in it. This one was rubbing so hard that it has basically whittled its way all the way through, well, not all the way, okay? Let's say 3/4 of the way through its mount. So they both need to go, because they're not going to do me any good like that. And I've made some replacement parts already. I won't show you the fabrication of those, but it's basic. But I just made a approximation of this for the other side. I'm assuming they're both about the same. This one has to come out and over the deck. You have to clear, you know, and then drop down. And this one you wouldn't really have to drop down as much. But I just made them the same just because I'm making two, and it's just easier to machine them when you're making stuff. Just make two the same way. So I'll show you the pieces I got, and then we'll take this deck off of here. I think that's going to be the best way to set it on something. Then I'm going to be able to set the heights of these things properly. So what I made mine, oh, looks like the primer stuck a little bit. Oh, not too bad. I got them in grape or brown primer right now. I made two approximations of what they should look like. Both about the same. I got them on a pretty heavy metal there. I forget the gauge. Was that 1/8 inch? I think so. Probably thicker than what they were originally, and that's just fine with me because obviously they weren't lasting. So I made them a little extra long. Didn't know how that was going to work. If I wanted to poke it through the deck, slice it, and weld it from the back side too, and then make a fillet weld out on the front side. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but I did make them both at least 1/4 inch longer than is absolutely necessary. Just chamfered the holes a little bit, drilled these. I think they're 3/8, and just painted them up to give them a quick, you know, so they wouldn't rust while I was holding them. And then I'll paint them yellow once I get them all, you know, welded, get them all put on. So for this job, John Deere decks aren't usually too hard to get off. So I think I'm just gonna pull the deck, put this on a flat surface, then I can measure up. I just want them, you know, I don't care up and down if they're 1/2 inch off, whatever. That not that critical. Side to side is very critical because that kind of helps you gauge the height they're running at. These ones don't just look like your normal anti-scalp wheel. I think they do help set the height of the cut. I'm not sure, but just judging by the amount of wear on that one, I think these actually hold the deck. You know, from the front, they're designed to hold the weight of. It seems like the back mostly lifts when I hit the lever, so they have to be pretty accurate left and right, or else your cut will be changed. Whereas a lot of them, they're just designed to only touch when they're, you know, going over a hill or something that's going to scalp. I think these ones are kind of more designed to set the height too. Not sure on that, but that's the way I'm going to attack it, is that I have to make sure they're pretty level, side to side. Getting seasick yet? Bring you back when I got it off. I think that's all. Okay, so now you can get a better look. This one's bent and just about worn through, and this one's missing completely. So I'll have to just make sure when I'm done they're both facing straight forward and at the right height. Okay, so the way I'm going to go about this is I found out that the handle, the pickup handle right there, is about straight. Those brackets in the middle are about straight. That bracket was about straight, so I'm going to actually just draw a tracing of the deck and draw down here about how far it came out, and just try to get it as close as possible to the way it was supposed to be. Okay, so I just traced around on the metal plate I got this sitting on, traced around all the way around, made the end point where it goes, made a point where it comes out, just kind of drew approximately where it was, and then I'm going to bend this one a little straighter and see what the exact height is off that plate, and I'll make those equal. That'll be important. Okay, so I just took a wrench, put it under there. It's 1 wrench high. I couldn't get it bent back like I wanted it, so now I can cut those off, and I'll have a good reference of how high they're supposed to be when I put them back. So just to get a good close-up of what's here, you can see they've re-welded this several times. There's some holes. You can see light through it if you get it on the right angle there. And they've added a lot of weld. I think what happened is they overheated this metal. They made it brittle. And that's why it really broke. I mean, metal usually doesn't snap like that. It's just they got it way too hot from welding. They put way too much weld there. The other side, much the same. You know, it would be affected by the heat all the way back to here. And they've just over welded it. Somebody, you know, did some replacement welds there, or some, you know, trying to stiffen it up, I guess. And just to show you how worn this is, where that wheel is, well, that's a hole that's supposed to be there, but if you look, there's some bubbling on the back where that metal is so stupid thin, it's going to break off any minute, and I'm going to lose that other gauge wheel, so we'll do them both. Okay, I got rid of most of that weld that they did. It was just globbed up and wasn't really providing any extra strength, so I'll go to the other side now. On this side, I've got the, it's pretty solid. I mean, they got a lot of undercutting on the deck part there where the weld undercut. A lot of heat affected zone there, but it seems solid. So I think I'm just going to cut this one here and kind of overlay my piece on it and then just weld here. I don't assume that's going to snap off again on this side, but that way I'll put the wheel on this side it'll be double thick in the back, and we'll be good to go. Got it all cut off. That way the bent part's off there, and then I could just overlay my other one on there. And it helps locate it too, which is good. I can weld a little on the back, a little on the top. Maybe sneak a little weld underneath there if I can. Could weld here also, so we have plenty of strength there. Alright, I got all the metal prepped the way I wanted it, and I've got these magnets here that can hold it any direction, which is kind of nice for this kind of job. I've got this one set up pretty close to how I wanted it. I can get a little weld in the back, get a little weld on the top to tie it into what was there. This one's going in fresh. Got it about lined up straight front to back. I got my wrench under there for a guide how high. This one is holding the height by itself. So I'm going to tack them in that position, and then maybe do a little final bending one way or another to get them straight before I really put a bead of weld on there. So at this point, I got that one tacked on and that one tacked on, and I'm just going to make sure they're straight before I burn them in. Alright, let's get ready to weld this thing on there. I can hear just by the sound I'm blowing through there. So we'll let that cool a while, and I'll hit it again. Alright, I just quenched that a little bit with some stuff I had laying around. Hopefully it's not flammable. I might have better luck welding that from the inside. I got a lot of holes there. It must have been real thin where that old bracket started its days. I'm going to flip it over and see if I can have better luck that way. Ground clamp came off. Or weld it or both. That ground. There we go. Got one more hole there. I'll finish that up and then get back with you. A grinder and paint makes me the welder I ain't. Just gave the deck some basic touch-ups just to prevent some of the top surfaces, like here was kind of cracked and everything. So I'm going to step away while this paint dries, but it looks like everything's going to work just fine. Alright, there we have it. Got our wheels mounted. Plenty strong for anything that's ever going to happen to a lawn tractor. Plenty strong. That's how we restore a deck that didn't have parts available, and we milled them ourselves. Thanks for watching. I hereby declare these wheels Wildwood certified.